screencast, I'll be giving you an overview of the My Assessment Portfolio System from the faculty or assessor viewpoint. This screencast will specifically give you a high-level understanding of each of the primary content areas in the My Assessment Portfolio and how they can be used and applied in your work. A following screencast will look more specifically at how to use My Assessment Portfolio to assess student work. So that tutorial will look at more how to open student work and then go through using the rubric to enter your assessment and comments. So let's get just started on acquainting you to our dashboard area. The dashboard is the first page you see once you complete your login process. On the dashboard, you will see a shortcut to something called Pending Assessments. This will show you a short list of student work that's been submitted to you that is ready for you to assess and give feedback to. So as you get more acquainted with the system and comfortable with using it, you'll probably find this a handy way to go and get started as soon as you log in. You can pull down on the Actions menu and go and assess. And we'll get into that in more detail a bit later. To the right of the Pending Assessments box is something called News. This is a really helpful box that you should pay attention to every time you log in. New information about the software, additional help guides, and sometimes support links or updates about outages or information about the software will be here in the News Bulletin area. Both you and your students have the ability to view news items, and within it you'll see that these contain mostly links to really pertinent help documentation. One of the things that you do see as a faculty member of the News Bulletin is the student online orientation. All of your students, once they register for ePortfolio, get added to a course in MyLeslie which is called ePortfolio Orientation. This is a self-paced, ongoing course that will be with them throughout their life of the program, and it consists of a variety of tutorials and help guides and support resources to help them be successful in their adoption of the ePortfolio site. We've provided a link that you can click on through the news flashes that gives you a backdoor entrance essentially into that orientation community, so you can also access the same content that your students are using and reference that as well in case questions come up. The other area we have is just a link for help guides for faculty. So if you click here, you'll be immediately able to click on a link to a variety of help guides and tutorials that will likely reference many of the things we're covering in these video guides right now. Once you're back on the dashboard, below News, you'll see something called Rubric Progress. This shows you different types of assignments or the different courses you're working in right now and how you're assessing compared to your peers. This is supposed to be used as a helpful diagnostic self-analysis tool. So here I've just scrolled over one of the assignments that I've been assessing on my trainings, and it shows that my average score is 3.5, while my peer group is 3.3. This means other faculty teaching the same course. So if you find that you're really far apart from your peers, maybe they're grading at a 2.7 and you're at a 3.2, this is a great opening for a conversation with your mentor, program director, or colleagues just about how to use the rubric and what the requirements of the assignment are. This rubric progress will also tell you if your students have submitted late to you, or how many pending assessments, meaning assessments that have been submitted but you have yet to grade as well. Over to the left is something called Portfolio Progress. This is actually really related to the fact if you are creating portfolios yourselves, and if we ever implemented for faculty a way for you to create portfolios and submit work for whatever purpose would make sense or be relevant, it would show you how far along you are in getting your portfolio completed. This particular indicator box is really helpful for your students as they progress through the program and submit their required work. They get a little indicator to show how far along they are, if they have anything that's overdue and anything that's pending to be assessed. Standards progress also relates to primarily the student view. So if you're creating and working on portfolios as a student that are correlated to standards, which all of the assessment portfolios are, the students can see how well they're doing against the standard and how far along they are in achieving the standards and outcomes for your program of study or the state that they reside in. So this is an overview of the dashboard page. Generally speaking, as faculty, you're going to spend most of your time working from the pending assessments area or the My Assessments area. My Assessments gives you the full list of students that will have assessments for you to assess and review, and we're going to look at that in the next screencast. I'm going to hop over a few of these pieces. My results really is for students if you're having if you're grading or assessing portfolios My Results is an area that the student clicks on and they can view your comments and feedback. My Portfolios, I will click on this one. This is the area that you can create a portfolio. So as a student or as a faculty member, you can come in and create portfolios just like your students do. You don't have to, it's not required, but many faculty find this helpful just so they can get a contextual understanding of the process that their students take in getting a portfolio started. So if you're interested in how to create a portfolio, I really recommend you looking at the student portfolio series or the student tutorial series on how to create and add a new portfolio. That'll really walk you through all the nitty-gritty steps. Image gallery and artifacts are places to store media, documents, and other items that would be added to a portfolio. I'm just going to skip over here to artifacts real quick. Think of this as a big virtual hard drive. You have access to it as a faculty member. This is a great place to do web file backups to things that are relevant to your coursework. For the students and the ePortfolio Handbook for students, we're really encouraging them to place all of the work that they're doing in their program of study in their artifacts library. Even though they may not be placing it into ePortfolio for formal assessment, they will have a repository and listing of all of their work, because students can also create multiple portfolios for personal use. Once they have access to the system, they can create different types of professional portfolios to use in the schools that they work in, but also for their job search. So we're encouraging the students to keep a record of all of their academic work here so they can use that to create all of the different types of portfolios that might be helpful for them. And if, at the very least, for a very functional reason, that if something happens to their computer, they lose a file, that this could be a backup area for them to store files and easily retrieve them. These last three areas, standards, assessment instruments, and tables of contents, refer to the different standards that are loaded into the system. These might not be areas that you're going to spend a lot of time with, but if you have some intellectual curiosity about the different state standards and professional standards the students are going to be correlated to, or the rubrics are correlated to, this is the master list of the standards sets that are loaded into the system. Assessment instruments might be an area you spend a little time in, only particularly if you're teaching multiple courses for the School of Education and you would like to see what the rubrics look like. So in this area, you can see different types of assessment. The assessment instrument really is the rubric, and you can search for, I'm going to just say all departments just so we see everything. And when I do that, I'm going to see that there are 218 rubrics that are in use for the School of Education at this time. So each course has their own rubric, and so you could go through here and do a targeted search for the course you're teaching and go across here to the Actions menu and simply view it. And the view will show you what the criterion are with the different ways that you would be weighting it. But once again, these areas are not required for you to use. They're there more just out of curiosity. I'm going to skip over here and show you at the top of the page, when you log into the system, you're going to see your name. Here I'm logged in as sample faculty member, and when I click on sample faculty, you'll see that I can log out from here. I can change my password to something that I'll be able to remember. I can also, there's something called renew or expires. These accounts do have an expiration date, but as a faculty member, there's nothing you have to do to renew them. Just simply contact map@leslie.edu. If you find you're getting close to your expiration date in the system, chances are you won't though. They're usually 2 to 3 year accounts that are issued to assessors and faculty. So you'll probably have plenty of time on the meter, so to speak. Your students receive 5-year accounts, so they get their 2 years, usually is what it takes to complete the graduate programs, and then they have another 3 years to use as they want professionally in their work. And they can renew it if they would like directly with the vendor. Lastly, my profile just refers to basic information you can also add into the system. This is not required, but like I said, you could go in and add a little bit more detail. This could be viewable by students who find you in the system. So this is really optional and up to you. Lastly, there's something called an inbox. This is just simply another master list of assignments, another way to access the work that students have submitted to assess. So I'm going to return back to the dashboard area and quickly recap what we've just covered. The dashboard is the main landing page that you come to after you log into the My Assessment Portfolio site. It consists of shortcut information to the assessments that you have pending from students, as well as links to help guides and pertinent information on things related to the My Assessment Portfolio system. One thing I'd like to highlight at the bottom of the page is the MAP contact information. You can always email map@leslie.edu or dial 1-888-MY-LESLIE for information and support related to login or information on accounts and how to get started using MAP. In the next tutorial for faculty, I will be covering the specifics of how to start and launch an assessment and enter feedback in for students.